letting go of your mental baggage. Our minds are so full. They're full of the past, full of the future, full of desires and fears, full of judgments, full of opinions, full of pain. These thoughts weigh heavily on us. We carry them around like baggage. Into each new moment, we bring these thoughts, and they color our experience or take us entirely out of this fresh, alive moment. Many of us live inside our mental reality, our virtual reality, and very little in the reality of the present moment. This wouldn't be such a problem if this mental reality were a pleasant one, but our mental baggage tends to make us stressed out and discontent with life. Our thoughts make life unpleasant. We may not even realize that life isn't actually unpleasant, only our baggage makes it so. How profound this realization is when this is really seen. In moments when we experience life free of the spin that our thoughts put on it, what a relief it is. We all have moments like this when we're so absorbed in whatever we're doing that we aren't thinking about ourselves. We're just being. When that happens, the sense of me falls away, and we experience being in the flow and responding naturally to life. We act and speak spontaneously, without thinking and without evaluating those actions first. This is the natural state, and we're all familiar with it to some extent and experience it daily. It's possible to live in the natural state most of the time. Only one thing is required: leaving your baggage behind. Did you realize that you could do that? We hang on to our mental baggage because we believe we need our thoughts. We do need our baggage to maintain a sense of being someone who has problems, needs, and desires, but we don't need our baggage to be alive and happy and to fulfill our life's purpose. All that our baggage gives us is a false sense of self, a sense of ourselves as someone who feels and behaves a certain way, and who has a certain history and certain dreams and desires for the future. Has this sense of yourself ever actually accomplished anything? Isn't it just thoughts about yourself? Do you really need such thoughts to exist and to function? What's been living your life all along is here right now. It isn't dependent on your self-images or stories. These, after all, are just thoughts. They could be different and you would still be alive. You would still exist. So obviously you aren't these thoughts, nor is being who you are dependent on them. The truth is, you don't need those thoughts about yourself to exist or function. Most of the stories and images we have about ourselves interfere with our happiness and with fulfilling our potential. All we need our self-images and stories for is to uphold our self-images and stories, to uphold the false self. It's absolutely safe to leave your self-images, stories, and the rest of your mental baggage behind. Life goes much better when we do, because our natural state is one of wisdom, love, kindness, peace, strength, and clarity. Our baggage interferes with everything we really want: love, peace, and happiness. You don't need your thoughts about yourself, about your life, or about other people. You don't even need your desires, fears, judgments, or opinions. So you can stop bringing these thoughts into the present moment. Here's how to do that. 1. Notice the thoughts you're bringing to this moment. Is that thought a memory, a self-image, a worry, a fear, a belief, an opinion, a judgment, a desire, a fantasy? 2. Who is it that is able to notice these thoughts. You are what is able to notice your thoughts. Your thoughts only represent the false self. Who you really are is what is aware of your thoughts and of everything else. This that you are is conscious of life, wise, loving, and happy to be alive. When you stop believing that you are the one thinking the thoughts and realize that you are the one who is aware of the thoughts, you'll find true happiness and peace. The only thing preventing you from recognizing this is believing that you are the thinker instead of awareness with a capital A. Really let this sink in, because when you see that your thoughts have nothing to do with you, you'll be able to detach from them, and they'll cease to affect your experience of life. You drop your mental baggage because you see that it offers nothing of value, but only takes you away from the experience of the beautiful being that you are. Practices and explorations. 1. Practice being aware of your thoughts. Where do thoughts come from? Thoughts arise out of nowhere. Just because a thought is happening in your own head doesn't mean it's truer than a thought that's happening in someone else's head. What thoughts are showing up in your mind right now? Where did they come from? Someone? Something you read? Something you were taught? A TV commercial? Are they true? Are they wise? Are they useful in this moment? Are they helpful or destructive? How necessary are most of your thoughts? Do you need them to function? Do they help you function better or not? How do they make you feel? 2. As you go about your day, consider the possibility that the voice in your head and your thoughts about yourself don't belong to you or say anything true or meaningful about you. They're just words that come out of nowhere, which happen to show up in your mind. Everyone has such thoughts, but they aren't important, valuable, or necessarily true. They're just a lot of chatter going on in the background of life. Meanwhile, you are alive, existing, and acting in each moment. That is what's real. Stillness's channel. We could just as well call this the love channel, the happiness channel, the peace channel, as the stillness channel. What these names point to is our natural state. This channel is available any time because our natural state is always here, regardless of whether we're tuned into it or not. That's why it's called the natural state. On the other hand, the stress channel is our programmed or default state. Although it's most people's normal state, it's not the natural state. Humanity is evolving from the default state, or the egoic state of consciousness, to the natural state. Many people have already learned to do this, and this development is reflected in their brains, as neuroscience has demonstrated. We have the power to be happy and at peace. We are not at the mercy of outer circumstances or our egoic mind. What a blessed time in history this is, that so many have already learned to shift out of the default state. The more people who learn to do this, the easier it will be for everyone else. What grace it is that there's a way out of suffering, and we don't need to have the ego's desires met to be happy and at peace. Happiness, peace, love, wisdom, clarity, compassion, acceptance, strength, patience, and curiosity are some of the qualities of our natural state. When we're in touch with our true nature, We experience these qualities to one degree or another. One of these qualities is often prominent for a time until another takes its place, or we become identified with the ego again. Just as the egoic state of consciousness has certain features, our natural state has certain qualities. When we're tuned into stillness, we know it because of how we feel. Stillness is a place of peace and no stress, because stillness is the experience of contentment and the sense that all is well and unfolding as it needs to. Stillness feels very full and complete, with nothing missing. Isn't this what we all want? In contrast, the stress channel is a place of fear and desire. When we are in stillness, the experience in our body and energy is aliveness, vibrancy, and peace. The stillness we experience when we're in stillness is an inner stillness, not necessarily an outer stillness. A lot could be going on and we could be very busy, but when we're in stillness, we experience an inner stillness, like being in the eye of a tornado or on a perfectly calm lake. This inner stillness reflects another important quality of our true nature. It can't be harmed, affected, disturbed, or defiled by anything. It isn't affected by our negative emotions or harmful acts, by trauma or abuse, by events, by thoughts, or by any other experience that our body-mind might have. Our true nature is steady, receptive, and accepting of everything that happens, including our own misguided conclusions and behaviors. It welcomes everything about life and is unchanged by it. This ever-present, loving power at our core is who we really are. We don't have to do or get anything to experience stillness. All that's required is being present in the here and now, in reality. Peace, happiness, love, contentment, acceptance, wisdom, strength, and clarity come from giving attention to what's in front of us, from being very present to life as it's showing up. Whenever we lose ourselves in whatever we're doing or in whatever's going on, and are not preoccupied with thoughts, but just experiencing whatever's happening, we feel happy, at peace, grateful, and connected to life in a way that feels like life is living us, and we're just responding easily and naturally to it. This is our natural state. It is a state of being and of pure experiencing, although spontaneous actions also often arise out of it. Being happy and at peace comes more from not doing certain things that obscure stillness than from doing anything to get happiness and peace. The qualities of our true nature are revealed whenever we stop doing whatever tends to get in the way of experiencing stillness. The only thing that can interfere with experiencing stillness is thoughts about ourselves, our life, how it's all going, the past, the future, judgments, and other ideas. Such thoughts interfere with happiness and peace because they keep us in the egoic mind's virtual reality and from being fully engaged with life, with what's going on now in the flow of life. When we're in the flow of life, we find our way to meaningful activities, or whatever we're doing is enjoyable and therefore meaningful. We feel moved internally by a force beyond us, like a river carrying us forward. We see beauty everywhere and feel immense gratitude and awe for life. That's how our true self experiences life. That is the experience of stillness. Practices. 1. Take a few minutes to stop all doing and just sit and be quiet. Can you find the place within where nothing is moving, where you are still, content, and at peace, where me and my life and what I have to do don't exist? How do you experience stillness? Let the mind think what it thinks and let the body feel what it feels, and just stay in the stillness for a while. Throughout your day, you can stop a moment and do this. You're never too busy to take just a moment to check in with stillness. 2. What are the occasions when you naturally and easily experience stillness? When you're walking in nature? Just before you fully wake up or go to sleep? When you're playing or listening to music? When you look into the eyes of a child? When you're sitting by the water? Notice stillness as it shows up, sometimes unexpectedly in your day. The more you notice stillness and spend time in it, the more it becomes part of your life. When you give your attention to stillness, it deepens and opens up.